Okay, yesterday we were discussing the din that if a woman gets divorced or widowed, and we said the same din would apply if she converts, she needs to wait 92 days before she's allowed to get married. The reason for that is because we learned a woman can have a baby after 7 months or after 9 months. So what happens if this woman, let's say that was divorced, got married right away? 7 months later, she might have a baby. We don't know, is this baby from the second husband 7 months later, or maybe it's still from the first husband 9 months earlier. So then we don't know who the father is. And there's a lot of dinim involved, who the father is. You know, is it Kohen, Levi, Yisrael, Yerusha, inheritance, relatives to marry or not? So therefore Chazal say that you're not allowed to get married for 90, it really says 92 days, but that's besides the day of divorce or widowed and the day, so it's basically 92 days. Now, if the woman is pregnant, then obviously you don't have to wait 92 days, because then you know who the baby is, because when she got married, she's already pregnant. So obviously, hopefully, it was from the first husband, or before she became Jewish. Now, before we go into the problems with that, in what the people do today, which is a very big halachic issue, and that is what happens. This is a separate thing. What happens if a pregnant woman who's not Jewish converts? So if she already gave birth, then she needs to convert. The baby needs to convert because the baby's not Jewish. But what happens if a pregnant woman becomes a Geirah? She converts to Yiddishkeit. What's the din? So the din is the baby doesn't need a separate conversion when he's born or she's born, but because the mother's conversion is good for the baby too, but the kid has a din of a convert. The kid doesn't have to have a din because it wasn't conceived as a Jew.
How does the baby convert?
After birth, you mean?
Yeah.
What they do is, and this happens, by the way, if you have frum couples that adopt a baby from birth, and it's not necessarily a Jewish mother, right? So what they do, they usually wait for 6 to 8 weeks, and then the father goes in. Well, if it's a boy, they have to do a bris. If it's a girl, they don't do a bris. And then when the baby is like 6 to 8 weeks old, Bezdin comes to the mikvah. The father of the baby takes the baby, goes into the mikvah with the baby, and he dunks the baby quickly in and out. And the Bezdin, so you can't have what's called Kabbalah's mitzvahs. Normally, the conversion process has three or four processes. Number one, if it's a boy, they need a bris, they need mikvah, and at the time of mikvah, there has to be what's called Kabbalah's mitzvahs, acceptance of mitzvahs. In the time of the Beis HaMikdash, they would also have to bring a korban. A giyah, just like a woman who gave birth had to bring a korban. A person, when they converted, had to bring a korban. Because we don't have a Beis HaMikdash, it says in halacha, it's a debt. When Mashiach comes, they're going to have to bring a korban. The one who converted has to bring a korban.
Acceptance of the mitzvah doesn't mean that they have to do. They just accept it.
No, they have to. Accept it means you're promised you're going to keep mitzvahs.
Who's going to keep all the mitzvahs?
Huh?
Who's going to keep all the mitzvahs?
No, I mean as much as a religious Jew is able to do. But if you're immediately not Shemesh Shabbos and not kosher, not anything, so then it's a big shaila if the gerus is a valid gerus. Now, by children, you can't have Kabbalah's mitzvahs. You can't have acceptance of mitzvahs. The kid's not No, first of all, I'm saying even if a 10-year-old kid converts, they're not obligated in mitzvahs yet. So, one second. The din is you convert them, and then on the day they're bar or bas mitzvah, depending on if it's a boy or girl, officially they have a right to say at that moment, I don't want to be Jewish. If they say, I don't want to be Jewish, they're not Jewish. The parents are Jewish, they're not Jewish. So what they usually try to do is, on the day of the bar mitzvah, they make the kid feel very good. They say, isn't it good being a Jew? And the kid said yes, and then he's a Jew. No matter what happens later, he's a Jew.
What is the earliest?
But by the way, you have people today that convert, that have teenage children, and let's see, the father is Jewish, the mother is not, or they're both not Jewish and they convert, and the kids are not interested in converting. So the parents are Jewish, the kids are going. That's it. They're not Jewish.
They have to, if the son doesn't want to do it after Bar Mitzvah.
Once he accepts on the day of Bar Mitzvah, he's like any other guy that turns away from Yiddishkeit, he's 100% full-fledged Jew.
No, let's say, like he said, Bar Mitzvah, I don't want to be, he says he doesn't want to be a Yid.
He's not a Yid.
Then he wants to become a Yid after that.
He has to go through Gators again.
He has to go through the whole Gators again?
Yeah. Well, he can't do a bris again, but he has to tough his up. Yeah. What?
I don't understand why a child with parents who convert, the child has to convert, because if they convert, if the parents convert, they're full-fledged Jews, aren't they?
Yeah, but how about the kids?
But the mother's a Jew.
But the kid was born already.
Okay.
The kid, we're talking about a kid who was born. Before conversion. So if the mother's pregnant when she converts, the kid does not have to go through their own conversion because the mother's conversion is good for the kid. But the kid has a din of a convert. Full-fledged convert. Yeah.
This was salvation and a black lady, and she seemed to me to have some kind of Jewish
Neshama.
neshama, yeah. And then I asked her, "Are you Jewish or what?" She said, "My grandma was Jewish, my mom's mom." So I told her, "So he must be Jewish too." She said, "I don't know, but we never practiced. We have been practicing Christianity."
Well, if the grandmother was Jewish and she was properly converted or whatever.
No, she doesn't know it, but she said my mom said that her mom was Jewish. So she doesn't know anything about it, and she has been...
Well, then you have to do research.
So
No.
she has to do... No, she said, but according to Allah, she should go through complete conversion.
There's too many scenarios possible. How big is the doubt about the grandmother? You have to do research.
Right. If you do research and you know that for sure her grandma was Jewish and she was married to a non-Jew.
Then, so what? But the daughter is Jewish and the granddaughter is Jewish.
Even though for 2 generations they have been practicing...
Doesn't matter. A Jew is a Jew. You have Jews that didn't practice for 20 generations. They're still a Jew. That's not an
They
issue.
don't need to go through any conversion.
No, they're 100% Jewish.
What is the earliest that the kid can convert Tino?
There's a din. Ger kotten matbilen eisel das besen. The Gemara says in Ksubis. Ger kotten matbilen eisel das besen. A kid under Bezdin is table the kid. Is Megayah the kid. But there's no Kabbal's mitzvahs. But then under their Bas mitzvah, they have a right to say. Okay. Anyway, let's get back to the 92 days problem. So, the question is, today, in a lot of places, even in frum places, they do a gatus in the morning, a conversion in the morning, that afternoon they do a chuppah. What happened to the 92 days, which halachically is mandated, is 92 days? They say, well, again, we know today she's pregnant or not, they take a pregnancy test, but there's a Gemara in Yevamos he brings down that says, even if Eliyahu Navi tells you that she's not pregnant, you're still not allowed to do it. You have to still wait the 92 days. A big Rav once told me that according to his understanding, it would even be a shaila on the Gatus. Why would it be a question? They're already not accepting something that Chachamim said you have to do. Chachamim said after a conversion, you have to wait 92 days. So the first day of conversion, they're already not accepting what... Okay, but this is a big issue in today's world. Our Rabbanim are very strict about it. What?
The issue of the Garrett is we didn't have these things in...
Because by the Sephardic community, interesting, the Syrians especially, by the way, they never accepted converts. They never accepted Gadim. If somebody was Megar Kaloch, I'm talking about, they would treat them as if they're not Jewish.
Same in Iran.
Okay? By the way, there's another interesting thing about what we said before. If let's say a parent converted, let's say the mother converted before the baby was born. And the baby was born when the mother was already Jewish, or the father converted before the baby was born, and they had a kid, halachically that kid could marry a Kohen. In Shulchan Aruch it's brought down that if both parents are Gerim, then their child, even though it was born after the Gerim, shouldn't marry a Kohen. Not that it's not allowed, but shouldn't. It's not, what?
But in some cases, there is a lady who was a Megarit. She converted. And then she had a son. But they're not practicing Judaism.
No.
And then you'll have 9 people, and all of a sudden her son steps in.
But when she converted, she was religious?
For a day or two.
Well, if she was taka religious for a day or two, then the kid's Jewish.
So you count as a...
There's a whole big machlekes. Some poskim say, even if they're not from, if an Orthodox from Bezin converted them, they're Jewish, regardless. But it's not so simple. It's very, very complicated.
Well, you can count him as a minion.
And thank God that us Chabadniks in California, before he even came to California, the Rebbe said to California that he doesn't want our shluchim doing gators. So thank God, I don't paskin gators. I don't say who's a Jew, who's not a Jew. I don't paskin, I don't get involved. The Rebbe told us not to. It's the best possible thing for us. For us. We don't have to get involved. It's so gedreit. You're going to rule who's a Jew, who's not a Jew, and it comes crazy things. Okay. What? By the way, this din of 92 days applies even to a woman who can't have children. Or she's an older woman. An 80-year-old woman converts. Yeah? And now she wants to get married. Why? Because the mother you weren't here that week. Because the mother is pressuring you to get married.
You know, a lady got pregnant at 90.
Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, but that was a different thing than today.
Even if you do a pregnancy test?
It doesn't, in halacha it doesn't help. The Gemara says even if a Lior Navi comes and tells you she's not pregnant. And loy plug. Therefore, the din is, even a woman who can't have children, either because physically she had a hysterectomy, let's say, or she's too old, she's not having children, so the din is it doesn't matter, loy plug. The Chum did not differentiate between one case and another case. They said a woman who's divorced, widowed, or like I said, converted, you have to wait 92 days. The only time you don't have to wait 92 days if a woman got divorced is if she remarries her own husband. It's called machzeh gerushosei. If a woman remarries her own husband, then you don't have to wait 92 days because it's obvious who the father is. These are...
Hopefully she's for a while.
Well, yeah, we're talking about that scenario.
She's only a Rusa.
Huh? No, it says even Edison you can't do. Yep. Even it says in kids, even the skasha b'sheduchim, even to stam. What?
The Syrians, is not a halakha.
No, this is their...
About 80 years ago, when the revolution happened in Syria, and they moved to the United States, a lot of new generation Syrians were going getting this Goya girls, surrounding them and saying,
They converted.
They converted. So you came in the wishy-washy, and the Rabbanot over there said no.
I know, I understand. That's the origin of why, but in the Syrian community, more than the Persian community. In the Syrian, they're more zealous about it.
Persian community in Persia, not here. Persian community in Iran, we don't have these things.
Okay.
But here,
What?
Yeah, we said the only West Coast now because
Whatever. Machin is right to my mother, but my Kim Shibla, Gal Taylor, Bichanan, when I cash him,